Namaste, guys. ChristianRLong, life enhancement consultant, giving you a big and beautiful shout out on this Saturday evening here in Denver, Colorado. I'm walking up on the Barnes and Nobles in my neighborhood, about to drop some knowledge or maybe receive some knowledge. So I just wanted to jump on real quick. Had a great day today. Spent some time in Boulder, Colorado, which is about 40 minutes from Denver. And I got to go on a beautiful hiking trail, which was amazing. And then now I am at the Barnes and Nobles, and my question to you is, Stephen, namaste. When you go into a bookstore, whether a Barnes and Nobles, well, that's pretty much it, Barnes and Nobles or a used bookstore, where's your favorite section? I have two favorite sections. It's the personal development section and the business section, because I'm always looking to expand both myself and my business. So what do we got for some good ones on the business section? This is a book I recommended to you guys back in the day. It's a big book. Mastery by Robert Greene. Excellent book, talking about the importance of mastery. What has Stephen got to say? Energy medicine, energy healing, energy psychology, tantra, psychic skills, and where the pretty girls are with said sections. True. I had a friend of mine say many, many years ago that spirituality is like chick crack. I was like, that's a weird thing to say. Chick crack, what does that even mean? Why am I whispering? It's not like I'm in a library. Because women are more sensitive to subtle energies, right, to the emotional plane than, say, men are. So when someone starts talking about spiritual concepts, or another term is called oracleizing, predicting the future, Becca, namaste, women get super excited about that, right? That's why they like tarot cards. That's why they like the 8-ball. That's why they like astrology. Because they're trying to oracleize or trying to predict the future in order to stay safe and to make the right choices and right path and all this other stuff. So he used to say, oh yeah, what you do is like chick crack. And I was like, I never thought of it like that, but it's a good point. Now, rather than using it to pick up women, I'm using it to heal the world one person at a time. I'm kind of over the using spiritual teachings to impress people for lower nature gratification or lower nature gains. I don't know, it doesn't really interest me. It took me a long time to reach that point, for sure. So what do we got over here? Ooh, another book. Buddha's Office. Does Buddha have an office? The Ancient Art of Waking Up While Working Well. Ooh. That's a big alliteration right there. The Ancient Art of Waking Up While Working Well. Hopefully I said that right. There is a namaste. There is a weird trend. I don't know if I brought this up in a stream before. I think I was talking just with a friend about it. Have you noticed a lot of the books that are on the bookshelf and a lot of the books that are bestsellers, there's a tendency for the words to have the title of the book to have the F word in it. It's always blocked out with a little asterisk or something like that, or they cross out one of the letters, or they add something, but you know what the word is. And I'm like, I don't quite understand why that is needed, right? Because language, we live at the language of what we live at the level at which we speak with our thoughts and our words, right? So all of these books that are about personal development, about becoming a better person, Michael, namaste, about whatever, there's so much profanity in the titles and then profanity throughout the entire book. And you could say, well, that's their authentic self, and that's somebody expressing themselves. No, I don't believe that for 1/10 of a second. You being vulgar and swearing is not presenting your authentic self, not even close. So I always thought that was weird. Like, for instance, look. You see the title, it might be reversed, right? But it says Zen as, right? And it's like, why do we have to throw vulgarity into spiritual teachings, into personal development? I don't get it. I mean, maybe if you grew up in a household where you felt really controlled by language, your parents wouldn't let you say certain things, and so you're like, now that I'm an adult, I'm going to express myself authentically, boldly. There is a level of truth to this that Anthony Robbins actually talks about, and it's a good point. Certain words stick in your mind more so than other words. So if somebody's cool, calm, and collected, then all of a sudden they drop the F-bomb or the A-bomb or the MF-bomb or whatever bomb, there's a tendency for the person to have that lesson stick in their consciousness more. So I get it. But now, guess what? If everyone's using it in their titles, in their newsletters, in their podcasts, in their YouTube videos, right? It starts to lose its stickiness, and then it just starts to pollute the conversation among the individuals. So I always wondered that. And it's just within the past 5 years. Don't believe me? Go onto YouTube, or go onto Amazon, and type in something dealing with profanity, like, just type in the word F-U-C-K under Amazon, under books, and see how many books come up, or S-H-I-T on Amazon, and see how many books come up. Recently, it's bizarre. So now we have the must-read section. Let's see what's over here. Ooh, here's a book. Highly recommend this book. This book transformed my life. The Habits of Highly Effective People. I highly recommend reading this book if you're looking to change your habits in life. Whatever habit you're looking to get rid of or develop, this is an amazing book. The Power of Habit. My ex-wife's favorite book of all time, Man's Search for Meaning, Viktor Frankl, talking about the philosophy of logotherapy he developed while in a concentration camp. Actually, I believe he was in 3 concentration camps. One of my mentors, this was actually a big book of his. If you're in a relationship and you're having lack of fulfillment in your relationship, might want to check out this book, Codependent No More. It's actually probably the quintessential book for people trying to overcome codependency. This book was written in the late 80s. It's a good book. A little hard to read, but it's a good book. 5 million copies have been sold. What else? What other nuggets are over on this book table? Fast Food Nation. That's a good book. Wired to Eat. Oh, so here's something interesting. So see this book? The 7-Day Apple Cider Vinegar Cleanse. The 7-Day Apple Cider... Vernando, namaste, right? So some of you may have seen the popularity of juicing celery, right? So having celery in the morning, or celery in the afternoon, or celery in the evening, or celery all day long, or just fasting on celery juice. And so I thought to myself, I go, all right, well, why is this popular? And I did a little digging, not a lot. I could have done more digging. I did a little digging and found out that some psychic in, I think, LA was talking about the benefits of celery juice. I was like, okay, benefits of celery juice. Got it. But then as you go deeper into the research, and you have dietitians and nutritionists talking about the benefits of celery juice, it has nothing to do with celery. I'm not validating or invalidating this. I'm just saying what I read as a quick, as a quick casual glance, that you can juice any vegetable and receive benefit. Why? Because you are getting hydrated, and there's certain nutrients that are in celery, peppers, cucumbers, cantaloupe, whatever, right? So it's not because it's celery juice that makes it anything special or significant. So again, it's interesting how these fads get started, keep getting pushed, and then you have all these people on social media saying, oh, I've done the 1 day, 3 day, 5 day celery fast and I feel amazing. Well, is it because it's celery, or is it because you're getting more hydration than usual, you're not putting garbage into your physical body, right? You're also giving your digestive tract a rest because you're not eating anything other than drinking celery juice for 3 days. So one nutritionist was making a very good point that it could be anything. You could drink celery juice, you could drink carrot juice, you could drink pepper juice, and you're still going to derive similar benefits. And I was like, okay, that's interesting, right? So, what are the books? All right, so we hit the business section. We busted it out a little bit. We did the must-read section. And then, there's a section that I want to dedicate more time to is the biography section, is reading the lives of great, great people, because you're merging your energy with them. And as Grandmaster Choa Kok Sui would say, whatever you meditate on, you become. So if you meditate on great people by reading their stories and their biographies, you will have a greater likelihood of becoming great. Not for ego, not to be great just for the sake of being great, but being great to be a greater instrument of goodwill and the will to do good for other people. So, that's so weird. The personal growth section. Oh, snap. Yeah, this was a section I used to spend a lot of time in. Great title. What do you guys think of this title? Why Good Sex Matters. Perfect. This is a good book. I haven't read it, but I've heard good things about this book, The Art of Dying Well. The Art of Dying Well. Here's a book that was written in the 80s, and I first was exposed to this book by a photographer who I think was a pedophile, not 100% sure. A photographer that sat next to me on a 14-hour train ride from Minneapolis, Minnesota, to Massachusetts. And we talked and talked and talked and talked and talked. And he said the book that really changed his life was this one. Please Understand Me. Please Understand Me. Which actually, when you think about it, from the title of a book, Please Understand Me, and we connected to the prayer of St. Francis of Assisi, one of the stanzas in the prayer of St. Francis of Assisi is, seek to understand, then be understood. So this whole book is saying, understand me. Hey world, understand me, right? Versus the individual having the objectivity and the compassion to look outside themselves and to put their attention on somebody else. What is that person's needs, wants, and desires? Not to say that understanding yourself is not important, because we know, right? Know thyself is extremely important, and everything goes back to the self. But what I've noticed, my experience has been, and I brought this up maybe a year ago on a stream, is that the world of personal development, on some level, lower level of truth, conditions us and teaches us to focus solely on ourselves. Personal development. So it's always about me, myself, and I. And so in the process of developing ourselves as human beings, there's a tendency to actually strengthen the ego, to strengthen the negative pride, especially intellectual, mental pride, because we know a lot of things, but are we practicing what we're learning in all the books? Right? So there's a form of yoga called jnana yoga. Jnana, jnana yoga, which is the yoga of understanding. Understanding what? Understanding the nature of reality, understanding the higher soul, and ultimately understanding God. But most people, there's a cute little tiny girl, most people are not mentally developed enough and refined enough and purified enough to follow that path. So yes, it's super beneficial to read books. 100%. Grandmaster Choa Kok Sui was an enlightened being still reading books, because the teacher is a perpetual student, no matter what. But a lot of what he was reading, he was taking action on. So if you're reading personal development book after personal development book after personal development book after personal development book, and a year goes by, and 5 years goes by, and 10 years goes by, and you're still struggling with the same issues and challenges, and you're still not becoming a better person, and your character is still lagging behind, then you are not a practitioner of what you're studying. So that's a really big deal, right? You want to be an embodiment. You want to be an embodiment of what you are reading or consuming. That girl's so cute. She's probably 18 months old, barely makes it up to my knee, super teeny tiny, adorable. You ever notice little tiny kids have the most adorable, soft, squishy ears? It's amazing. And then this brings me back to my childhood. I'm in the fiction and literature section, and one of the books that stands out most of all of them is Stephen King's The It. Now, I was brought up in Massachusetts, and if you go 3 hours north of Massachusetts, you hit Maine, which is where Stephen King was born and raised, and a lot of his books that got turned into movies were actually filmed in Maine, and he would usually, almost always, make guest appearances, just like, what's his name from Marvel Comics, Stan Lee, who recently passed away. A lot of the Marvel Comics that got turned into movies, he would make a cameo appearance. But yeah, for decades, almost every day, Stephen King would write for 4 hours a day. 4 hours a day, no matter what, mastering his craft, which is horror literature. Very dark energies he had to tap into very dark energies in order to paint the picture for people to be enthralled in the story. So remember what we said, whatever you meditate on, you become. If you read lots of horror stories, think about it. All right, so in the new biographies, we have Elton John, Margaret Thatcher, Jessica Simpson. Whatever happened to Jessica Simpson? A magician, Diane Keaton. I always thought Diane Keaton was attractive. Nonfiction, Gary Shandling. Remember Gary Shandling? I used to watch the Gary Shandling show in the 80s. He left his body a few years ago. This is interesting. So you know how Google has its name, Do No Evil? So somebody wrote a book called Don't Be Evil. How Big Tech Betrayed Its Founding Principles and All of Us. Oh, damn. Somebody's dropping the big one. The future is faster than you think. Oh, so I would recommend, I haven't read this book, but I've read his other books. So Peter Diamandis, The Future is Faster Than You Think. I would pick up any book that he has written and read it cover to cover, because he's a super big thinker, forehead chakra guy, big picture, ajna guy as well. I really like him. I really like Peter Diamandis. So check out his book. He did a book called Abundance. He did a book called Bold. I think that's his newest book. Obviously, it's in the new release section, so that's the newest book. But that's it, guys. So I just wanted to jump on with my crazy hair from having my hat on, and give you food for thought and food for application. Our staff recommends Sexual Citizens, a landmark study of sex, power, and assault on campus. Why is the staff recommending that? Anyways, so for those of you who are looking for inner healing and inner transformation, and you're ready, willing, and able to take your life to the next level, I absolutely, unequivocally can help you with that. You go to ChristianRLong.com. It's my name. It's my website. Super, super easy. Sign up for a healing session or a consultation. We can talk about what you need healing on and then go from where you are to where you want to be. Super easy. All right, guys. Lots of light, love, and power from God and my teacher, Grandmaster Cho Coach Chewy in your lives, and I will connect with you very, very soon. Atma Namaste. Bye-bye.